Welcome back to Getting Real. I am your host, Monique Hom. I'm the founder of Real Estate Investor Goddesses. And on today's show, we are diving into another powerhouse conversation from our seven figure lifestyle summit. For 20 weeks, I'm sharing some of the most eye opening, truth telling, soul stirring interviews I've ever done with women who've built seven, eight, and even nine-figure businesses and created lives they actually love, lives filled with freedom, purpose, and joy. And if you're listening because you're craving that kind of success, not just money in the bank, but peace in your heart, then this interview is for you. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a creative, a professional woman who's been hustling hard but still wondering, when do I get to feel good? When do I get to see and feel all the fruits of my labor? This is your reminder that wealth without joy isn't success. And today's guest is someone who lives that truth. Joeaux Robey, affectionately known as simply The Joy, is a master of reinvention. After walking away from a high-powered corporate career, she has built a thriving seven-figure business by blending play and purpose, what she calls clerk. So in this episode, Joy will share how she redefined success. She found freedom by following her soul, and how you can too. We're talking about joy, we're talking about worthiness, we're talking about what it really means to build a business and a life that lights you up. And you are going to love this episode. And if you want to hear all the episodes, you don't want to wait 20 weeks, you can access every interview right now, plus over $4,000 in VIP gifts, all for just $99 by going to tinyurl.com/VIP seven, the number seven figure, and you can grab your all access pass. And now let's dive in. Welcome back to the Seven Figure Lifestyle Summit. Today, I am so thrilled to be joined by someone who truly lives and breathes the message of joy, alignment, and soulful success. Joeaux Robey, affectionately known as The Joy, is a master of reinvention, a spiritual business mentor, and the visionary behind Soulpreneur Productions. After walking away from a high-powered executive role in the corporate world, she followed a deeper calling to help others bring their soul's purpose into the world as thriving, joyful businesses. She's known for her signature approach to blending play plus work, which she calls clerk, and she's helped countless soul-led entrepreneurs turn their passion into profit with fun, freedom, and alignment at the core. Such a perfect person for this summit, and I am so excited to have her. Joy, welcome.
Thank you, Monique. I'm so happy to be here with you. And you know what? I love this topic. I'm thinking I should do a podcast on this topic. This is such a fun topic. I mean, who doesn't want to talk about seven-figure lifestyles and what it affords you, if that's the right word? It's just like it's fun, right?
It is so fun. Well, my thing about fun, um, this summit is all about creating a seven-figure lifestyle, one that's rich in joy, alignment, purpose, and freedom. I'm curious, what does that mean to you, seven-figure lifestyle, and what are you what does that mean to you? Just start with that.
Okay. Seven-figure lifestyle means to me complete freedom.
Mm.
But I actually made seven figures before I ever realized it afforded me freedom. So it's got some self-worth in there too, because sometimes you make the money, but you don't necessarily know what the money actually can do for you. It creates leverage, right?
Yeah.
And for me, like I hit seven figures about 5 years ago. And at the time it was a goal to hit the seven figures. And then it was like, this sailboat out of control, this sail, like, whoo, like trying to like just get it all, tacked down and to be able to actually ride, in that sailboat. And what I mean by that was the business, right? Because that's, when you hit seven figures in a business, um, there's a whole new set of opportunities that come along with it.
Yeah.
And so for me, it wasn't actually until this year that I realized the benefit of having a business that was a seven-figure business and having a seven-figure lifestyle, because I didn't allow myself to walk away from the work, or the clerk, as I say.
Yeah.
Um, and it wasn't really, as you know, my daughter had a baby earlier this year, and I was really torn. She wanted me, we live in different states, and she wanted me to come and be in the delivery room, which meant being there before the baby was born and then being there like a month afterwards. And my initial reaction was, I can't do that. Like, how could I possibly do that? And, but then what I realized was, isn't that why we've like achieved these things and worked so hard? Is that we can fuel our why. And for me, my why is definitely my kids. And so it was the first time in my entire life. I mean, this is really sad. The first time in my entire life that I took off more than 10 days. And
Wow.
yeah, and I did, it's kind of funny because, it's sort of like go big or go home, right? It's like first I took 4 weeks and I went to Turkey, and that was business related. But then I took like 5 weeks with only a week between, and I went and I stayed with my daughter, and I realized just how special it is to be able to have that opportunity.
Yeah. So, because what I'm hearing is it's a lot more, because it's not just the money, because there are people that are making seven figures and they are, or more, but they are hustling and they are grinding and they are not free from their business, right? So it's not, the money is not going to keep going if they're not working. And
Right,
what you're talking about is creating something that works without you, that actually
right.
gives you that freedom.
Yeah, for me, it's about creating a business that has residual income, something that when I step away for however long, it continues to go. So, and I work with so many um, entrepreneurs that are caught in that like private session mode where you don't get paid unless you show up for that hour.
Yeah.
And that's exhausting. That is exhausting, but sometimes you have to go through that to get to, where we are now.
Yeah.
But I'm also here to say you don't have to. That's what I learned, is you don't have to go through all of that. There's a lot of ways to just go straight to the seven figures and forget, even bypass the six figures, just go straight to the seven figures.
I love that. All right, before we get into that, because I definitely want to talk more about that. Um, you're known as the Joy, and I know you didn't get here by accident. So, can you share what sparked your own spiritual transformation and what led you to walk away from corporate success to follow your soul's calling?
Well, for me, I was not necessarily on a spiritual path. I was on a soccer mom path. I was like corporate vice president in a marketing firm, two kids, house not far from the beach in Southern California. And from the curb, everything looked great. Yet I was miserable. I mean, I was literally having nervous breakdowns. I was at work, and then I'd drive. I had about anywhere, I was in LA, so it was anywhere between 45 minutes and an hour and a half to get home to go to and from work.
LA.
And,
Yeah.
and, and so I would literally have these breakdowns in the car. And I knew that I couldn't keep going on, but I also was not a spiritual person at that point. It was like my soul was breaking through. And I went through, now this is going to be weird for some people. And if it didn't happen to me, it would be weird too. I'll tell you that. but I experienced what is called a walk-in or a soul transformation. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Monique, but
Yeah, tell us more about that.
it was like an instant overnight transformation. I mean, here I was, I had this executive position. My kids were just about ready to go to college. And overnight, I just woke up one morning and I had been a vegetarian for 25 years. Suddenly, I was looking for hamburgers. I mean, every my
There's
life,
a real, yeah, shift.
I was like, I dressed like Ann Taylor, loft kind of, that's how corporate suits. All of a sudden, I was in tie-dye. It's like everything changed in my life to the point that my kids are like, who are you? What happened? You know, my husband and I even, had to go through some marriage counseling. And it was just like this sudden awakening that I could not live the way that I was living. And I literally walked away from my job. And I was the breadwinner and my kids were going to college. I mean, it was not a good decision that I made at the time. It really literally brought me to my knees. And it's funny because I was actually I was actually not living with my husband at the time. My kids were away at school, and he asked if I would come home. We had been going through marriage counseling online. He asked if I would come home when the kids came home from college. They had no idea what was going on. And so I agreed and I came home and he said, and things were pretty good. And he said, so what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know, but I can't stay here. I can't stay here in LA. It's too loud. There's too many people. I need some peace. Like I'm thinking, what if we were to get a motorhome and just work from wherever on the road? And he thought that was a great idea. We both worked online. So, it sounded like it was doable. And here's the funny thing. There was a 10-day bank-owned motorhome sale at Dodger Stadium. So it was like this window of time, right? And we went there and we looked at all these motorhomes and we were there so long that they brought in the closer. You know what I mean? And
They're like,
so
oh, these are live ones. They're good.
yeah, these guys are buying, so they brought in the closer. And when they brought the closer in, her name was Alexis. She recognized something about me that I didn't even know about myself. And she, at one point, she said, and I know I like telling this story because you're going to have, or maybe you've already had Marilyn on, okay? Marilyn Harper. So this is how I met Marilyn Harper, is that this woman, after we talked for a while, she asked me what I did, and I told her I was a marketer. I handed her my business card, and she's turning it over and over, and she says, no, you're not a marketer. You're a promoter, and you're about to go on a spiritual journey. And then she took out her card and she wrote, I want you to call this woman Marilyn Harper. Now, I'm in LA. Marilyn's in Missouri, in Branson, Missouri.
Mm.
And I thought, wow, this woman really wants to sell me a motorhome. Like I really thought that she had, some ulterior motive. And and my husband was like, you got to call. This is so exciting. So I kind of like sat with it for about 3 days. And then finally I called Marilyn and I told her, it was really funny because, she channels Adironda. And she said, I said, hi, my name is, I told her my name. And then she said, do you want a session with Adironda? I didn't even know who Adironda was. I said, Ada who? Like, I didn't know who she was. And then she says to me, I said, I don't know why I'm calling this woman, Alexis, and I told her the story. And she knew to pay attention. And that's how I met Marilyn. That's how I got on my spiritual path. I didn't know anything about really anything. It was pretty amazing. So that's how my transformation started. It's a really long story. And we've actually done a sitcom because it's so hilarious. And it's on our television platform, Enlighten, N-L-I-G-H-T-N.tv. and it's called Two Girls in a Galaxy. And it's our story because then she and I proceeded for like the next 3 to 4 years, traveling all over the country, sharing the wisdom of Adironda. And that's how I got here.
That is so incredible. There's so much to that, but just this like overnight shift, right? It was overnight, but there was also a lot. It wasn't, right?
Right,
So yeah, you like woke up and you want meat, and you're dressing differently, but also the see like the steps and the steps and the steps, like how the dots connect over time. Um, and I think a lot of women will resonate with that because the women in this summit are high earning, purpose driven, they're successful, yet many feel deeply disconnected from joy. Right? Like you, I think, and I've been there in the past. On paper, everything looks perfect. You should be deliriously happy, and yet something is really off.
yeah, yeah.
You
And the corporate, being in the corporate environment had already started to not really resonate for me, even though I would never have used that word
Yeah.
back then. I would never have used that word. I would have just said, I don't know. I just don't feel, like it just didn't feel right. And I think it was really my soul saying, okay, it's time to like do what you've come here to do. And so I was able to easily translate those skills and the things that I had been doing for, the last 30 years at that point to people that were in the spiritual market and helping Marilyn. So it was like, I was funding my own education at that
Yeah.
point because I was going to all kinds of retreats now. And I was like listening to all of these, spiritual influencers. And here's another thing that's really great for people to know is yes, it's awesome to get that 7-figure lifestyle, but what comes first? Does the joy or
The
the
money.
7 figures?
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, because I was making I wasn't making 7 figures in corporate, but I had a really nice corporate income. And I could pretty much do whatever I wanted at that point, but I didn't have the joy. And so then when I went to work with people in the spiritual industry who mostly don't have any money, and Marilyn didn't have any money, that's why she made me her business partner, was that when I started doing that and I loved so much what I was doing, the money came.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing that's really cool, Monique, is at one point I looked back in that journey and I realized that once I started following joy, um, I had traveled the world in a 10-year period. I had done everything on my bucket list, and I did not take one penny out of my checking account to do it. But in doing that, like the more I helped people get what they wanted in life, the more I got what I wanted in life. And that's how it ended up being, to where it is today.
I love that. Why do you think joy gets lost for so many women? And how can they reclaim it?
Well, I think that this is changing. You know, you're a generation different than me. My daughter's a couple generations different, and I'm watching like women in work. And I think that, like, for me, when I started work, we didn't really ask ourselves what we wanted to do. We asked ourselves what paid the best. If you were smart, you could get a scholarship, go to college, learn that skill, whether you liked it or not. It wasn't really a question of, did it bring you joy? Joy was like your children, or joy was like gardening, or, it was outside. Work was work. That's why work has a bad name, right? That's why I call it clerk, because you can play and work. But I think that the challenge is that we and I think it's shifting for younger generations, but we followed the money. And my advice is follow the joy, because the money will come when you're really happy. I mean,
Yeah.
abundance comes with gratitude. And when you're in a state of gratitude, you're in a state of joy.
How can women begin to invite more of that clerk into their like into their work, into their businesses? How can you do that?
I think decide, I think decide. It's interesting. We were talking about this before we got on the call, Monique, is that, when you start thinking about what you want, all of a sudden the universe just like starts bringing you all of these examples of it, and you start seeing it everywhere, right? And I think that when you just decide, like you did, I'm going to have a year of fun. That was just a decision that you made and you followed through with it. It didn't really require a whole lot. And I don't think that people realize how easy it is to just decide. I remember every year for New Year's, I would always choose a new optimistic, positive word. And then I would get like a little bracelet made with the word, or to have a coffee mug for that year. And that would be my decision. And I invite everyone out there to decide, maybe 2026 is joy. I want joy in my life, and
Yeah,
it, it'll happen.
I love that. So you mentioned something. So a lot of entrepreneurs, and I think especially spiritual entrepreneurs, struggle with charging for their gifts, mixing their money with their spiritual mission. And they might often love what they do, right? It gives them joy, and yet they don't have the abundance. So what's your take on that? How can people shift their beliefs so that they not only have that, oh, I love what I'm doing, but I also get to be abundantly remunerated for it?
Well, I know this is a topic that we both love, is like helping people through their, it really comes down to worthiness, because in a really 3D world, from a business perspective, you sit down and you say, it cost me this much. I need to make this much, and that's how much I'm going to charge. I mean, it is like so simple, right? But so many people have this feeling that people will only pay so much. They don't actually go through that exercise of trying to figure out how much they want to make. They just assume that that's what people will pay. But the reality is, if you sit back and look at the gamut of people in your industry, you're always going to find the dollar store and Nordstrom's. You're always going to find that. And
Yeah.
then you just got to ask yourself, who are you? Are
Yeah.
you the dollar store, or are you Nordstrom's? And if you're the dollar store, you're going to have to work really hard to compete. And if you're Nordstrom's, you don't have to work as hard. You just be you. You just be
Yeah.
you. Don't copy other people. Just be you.
I love that. I've heard the story. Like there's a Tiffany's sells a paper clip. It's like $250. It's a jeweled paper clip, right? But it's a paper clip, right? You can go, or you can go to Office Depot and get 100 for like $1.99. It's like, do you want to be like, which paper clip are you? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a great point, because like I think I've told you, my brother, I'm very proud of him. He's one of America's few billionaires. We grew up in the same middle income house, so he did it. But he gave me some advice when I first started hitting higher income numbers, when I started getting towards seven figure, because he was like giving me goals. And he said to me, okay, now when you hit that goal, I want you to go out and buy yourself something. Buy yourself something you would never buy. It's so frivolous and it feels a little scary. And he said, if you put it on a credit card, you have to be able to pay it off right away. It's
yeah.
got to be, but you have to celebrate your wins. And I'm telling you, I had never done that, Monique. And I went and I bought myself these beautiful, not these, but these beautiful long diamond earrings. And it was more money than I'd ever spent on myself. And it made me so nervous. And for a while, I couldn't even wear them. Like I'd only wear them for weddings. And then one of my really good seven-figure girlfriends, she said to me, she said, Joy, you haven't arrived until you wear those earrings with jeans.
It's for the at
And
the
so,
grocery store. Yeah.
and so I did, and it's all about that worthiness, of I'm worth it.
I love that. Yeah, so good. Um, all right. Well, we're talking about like the seven-figure lifestyle. I'm curious, what are you most committed to cultivating right now?
I am actually at a place in my life where philanthropy is a huge piece of what I'm doing. Um, I I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I mean, I have three businesses in one physical building lot.
Mm,
They're tied together, but and so I have really done a lot of research locally to see how we could support the local community. And then for the program that my higher end, my high ticket coaching program, um, I'm tying that into it so it goes global as well. And for me, it's all about human trafficking. I've learned some things recently locally here in Missouri, where I am, that just blew my mind. Like I thought, well, that doesn't happen here, you know? And then I found out that this is like the fourth worst state in the United States. And
really?
the others are all border states. And the reason why is because of the laws, number one, because the laws are archaic. And number two, because um, two interstate corridors pass through here. So it's really easy.
Mm,
Um, and ever since I learned that, I've become really passionate. I've become passionate about how to raise money, to raise awareness, and to, just especially here locally, because we think that those things are not happening in our backyard,
yeah.
and they are. Yeah. So that's what I'm passionate about right now.
I love, I mean, that's so beautiful. Especially, we started talking about how this seven-figure lifestyle is about freedom. And I love that you are helping, with these people that are literally in slavery.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so, and it is right here. So thank you. Thank you for that work that you're doing. Thank you for that work that you're doing to help entrepreneurs that have like beautiful missions and who need to get their voice out into the world. And then also helping those who are so desperately in need and have no voice.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm passionate about that, especially for women,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Well, you've prepared a gift for our attendees to help them align their purpose with profit. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about the gift that you have?
I do. I have so one thing that I'm sure everybody's playing with these days, and my team has just become passionate about is chat GPT prompts. And so they've put together a couple of them. One is, and I think you have the link, or do you want me to drop it in
I think we'll
here?
we'll have the link. Yeah.
So
So,
one is find your soulmate client, and
love that.
why?
Yeah.
Okay, why? Because on the path to seven figures, you do not have to work with people that you don't resonate with. Like there are so many people in the world to work with. So choose the people that you really love to work with. That's what makes Plurk. Like when you love to go in and coach or do your work because you're surrounded with people that are fun and loving, it makes it joyful. And so we did a prompt called Find Your Soulmate Client. I'm just looking at my screen here.
Yeah.
And it's basically a series of prompts to help you figure out in your business who that might be so that you can target them. And then the other one we did, also really fun, is called the Abundance Activation Generator. So for those of you who are looking to you're like trying to figure out what is your passion and how can you generate that abundance. This asks you a series of questions to help you with your mindset. Because as you know, Monique, that's everything. It's all between here. That's where it
Yeah.
happens.
So
And
that's huge.
that is
And I think
everything.
that's our VIP gift. So you definitely, you've been thinking, do I want to upgrade to the VIP? You do. Like, first of all,
Sorry.
you'll get all of these recordings. You'll get some like gifts, incredible ones like this, and well over $3,000 worth of gifts for $97. And we have a gathering where we're all going to get together, and you can get together with these incredible speakers and the other women VIPs. So definitely upgrade if you haven't yet, so you can enjoy the
Abs-
goodies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Joy, thank you so much. That I, your name is a perfect fit for you. That was purely joyous, as always, to talk to you. And I
Yeah.
love how you remind us that our soul's work can be play, should be play. It's not just help others, it needs to light us up too. And that it will come with like play, joy, and profit. So it all, yeah, we get all of that. So for those of you watching, make sure that you click the links to get your gifts from Joy and, you know, and join us for the next interview. Thank you.
Thank you, Monique. I love what you're doing, and I love what you're doing to show women how valuable they are and that they can have everything.
Yeah. And they should. Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you have it on paper, but it doesn't feel right, it's like this is the wake up call. It's like, oh, there's a different way. Yeah, you can
Abs-
be really happy and really wealthy. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was incredible. I love how joy reminds us that joy isn't a reward after you get success, it's the path to success. Now, if you are feeling burnt out, stuck in the hustle, or wondering when you get to enjoy that life that you've been working so hard to build, let this be your wake up call. You don't have to earn your joy, you get to choose it. And as I said before, this conversation is one of 20 from our 7 Figure Lifestyle Summit. These women who have built life changing businesses, transformed their finances, and done it all while having incredible lives. If you want instant access to all those interviews, plus over $4,000 in VIP gifts that will help you grow your wealth and your joy, help you live that 7 figure lifestyle, then you can still get lifetime access for only $99 at tinyurl.com/VIP 7 figure. These conversations are for the women who are ready to live fully, wealth, wealthy, joyful, aligned, and free. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, let's get real, live with joy, and stay real. Bye bye.